Today I will talk about two topics. First is principles of quantities, abstracting and billing. Second is Contract Act 1872. First of all, principle of quantities. For all engineering works, it is required to know the probable cost of construction and to know amount of work done during execution or on completion of for billing purpose. To prepare the estimate, the quantities of various items or activities of construction are required to be worked out properly. The accuracy in quantities highly affect smooth execution of work and administration of contracts. Usually for beginners who working out quantities, it is convenient to take up the items of same order as they would be executed and constructed. The principle of order of construction from foundation to upward direction will reduce the chances of lapse or omission of any item. The estimate and quantities are depend on certain aspects such as assessment of quantities by detailed measurement and calculation, accuracy in quantities, mode of measurement, skill of reading drawings, adopting correct unit of quantities, quality and accuracy of drawings, and knowledge of preambles of SSR. The first one is assessment of quantities by detailed measurement and calculation. There are certain parameters affecting quantity, mainly the site condition like terrain for earthwork, geography of site, and preparation of the correct drawings, giving all minor details of project specifically for lump sum contracts. For assessment purpose, the whole work is divided into different items of works as earthwork, concrete, brickworks, etc. And the items are classified and grouped under different subheads, and detailed measurement of each item of work are taken out, and accordingly quantities under each item are computed corresponding to the abstract for billing. The other one is accuracy in quantities. The quantities being catered in contracts are playing vital role on administration of contract such as financial control, busting of deviation limit and other deviation from contracts, and even it may affect the undue benefit to the contractor or loss to the states. Therefore, proposed quantities should be worked out very carefully to the realistic value while planning stage, keeping in view site conditions, modes of measurements, preambles of SSR. Accuracy in quantity is also depends on adoption of method of computing quantities such as for walls centerline method or long wall or cross wall method, and earthwork average depth method or level based prismoidal formula method. Next point is mode of measurement. Measurements are to be considered corresponding or relevant to the modes of measurement given in SSR, such as for volumes cubic meter, for area square meter or 10 square meter, and running length in running meter, or each or set of 2 or 3 jobs, etc. A measurer or a person working out quantity shall be well conversant with the modes of measurement for various activities of construction. For example, shallow excavations are to be considered in format of areas in square meter, and deep excavations are to be considered in volume, that is cubic meter. Further, modes of measurements for areas and volumes for the purpose of deduction should also be kept in mind carefully, such as ends of beams or small openings which are not to be deducted. Now the other point, skill of reading drawings. The measurements or quantities worked out by quantity surveyor or site engineer shall have good skill of reading the drawings, which helps in working out accurate quantities and decrease the time of estimation and ultimately resulting in good administration of work or execution. Next point is adopting correct unit of quantities. The measurement for quantities shall be decided as per the nature of work and description of appropriate item given in SSR. Adoption of incorrect unit of quantity is badly affects the contract administration and financial control of contract. Other is quality and accuracy of drawings. In MES, the work involving buildings are to be executed through lump sum contracts. Thus, the drawings should be self-explanatory in each and every aspects by providing numbers of various sections, enlarged drawings showing details of materials and dimension to work out correct quantities which reflects clear scope of work for particular item of the structure. Moreover, the details of drawings of any one building shall have no any ambiguity to avoid misinterpretation of scope of work whether it is included or not. One more important point is knowledge of preambles of SSR. While computing quantities of any activity, it is very important to go through the preambles of SSR, specially given under heading the rates includes, which affects drastic change in quantities or duplicacy of items while execution. Some examples of preambles I am going to explain here. Certain rates in SSR for concrete are inclusive of finishes of the exposed surfaces of concrete like trowel finish on top of concrete, other is touching of contact surfaces by mortar. Hence, separate item of finish given in tender or DCS attracts duplicacy in items. All the rates for precast items are inclusive of element of formwork. Therefore, giving separate item of formwork is to be avoided. Certain rates of item of excavation are inclusive of removal of spoil up to 50 meter. This aspect should also be kept in view. Deduction of 5% or 10% from the field areas or embankments, the earthwork based on methods of compaction manually or by machine. Other is rate of all items of earthwork includes the element of removal of vegetations and cutting of small trees or plants of girth 30 centimeter at 1 meter height. Thus, deficient knowledge of preambles may result in catering of duplicacy of items in DCS or tender which affect contract administration. Now, the other aspect is principle of abstracting. The abstract is to be prepared to work out amount of estimate or work done and billing purpose after computing quantities and by multiplying rates to the quantity. The abstracting is depending on certain aspect. One is description of item. The description of item shall be self-explanatory and without any ambiguity and shall reflect exact scope to be catered for in the given unit of measurement, such as set of 2 or 3, 10 square meter, multi-layer of WM, macadam, etc. Any separation of scope or inclusion intended shall be specified carefully through a separate note inserted along with description, which helps the engineer to prepare correct abstract. Any ambiguity may attract misinterpretation of scope involved and may be resulted in financial complication. As example, involves chances of different interpretation from person to person may be given as here. Description of item may be material labor for 150 mm thick WBM in 2 equal layers, whose rate is about 5000 per 10 square meter. Here the item given in abstract 150 mm thick based is on SSR item 75 mm thick. The rate given has been double the SSR rate, that is 2500 multiplied by 2, that is 5000. At the first sight, description of item appears very clear, but contractor may interpret that each layer of 75 mm is to be measured separately for payment purpose, though the item is for 150 mm thick, which leads to financial and contractual complications. Hence, a clear note as going to discuss can be given in description. Finished compacted layer of thickness 150 only shall be measured and consolidated for payment purpose. Such note will guide to run contract properly. Other is unit of measurement. It shall be decided as per the nature of work and items given in SSR such as square meter, 10 square meter, numbers or cubic meter. It is learned that errors in unit had been resulted in considerable financial benefit or loss either to the contractor or to the department. For example, in lieu of quintal, the unit erroneously is given as kilogram. Now, the third aspect is rate. The rate is to be given in pre-price tender shall be correct as per the description of item and strictly to the SSR for preparation of correct DCS or abstract. If rate of any item based on SSR is not available, it shall be inserted on pro rata basis after approval. Next is principle of billing. Billing is a process of working out amount due to the contractor at RAR stage during execution or final amount due to the contractor on completion of work. The billing is prepared based on abstracts of various activities of construction. The format of billing shall include all the plus claims of contractor for work done, including all deviations and all the minus effects such as material issued by the department to the contractor, items given under schedule of credit, recovery on account of TE's observation, minus deviation orders, water and electricity recovery charges, etc. Any lapse in consideration of minus effect will be resulted in overpayment to the contractor or loss to the state. One more important part of billing of work having PDC more than 2 years is reimbursement of prices of material and labor catered in the contract, which normally termed as escalation. Escalation details are require more care during preparation. Specific care shall be taken for the adoption of correct indices and wages of labor as per the detailed rules on this topic. It is seen that small mistake in indices or wages of labor resulting in huge variation in amount due to the contractor and which leads to arbitration in some cases. Next topic is the Indian Contract Act 1872. This act was applicable from 1st September 1872 and originally it was inspired from English Contract Act. This act is part of civil law. This act covers commercial transactions. Now, what is contract? A contract is a combination of an agreement and essential elements. Thus, by addition of essential elements to the agreement can be enforceable by law, which is called contract. All agreements are contracts if they are made by the free consent of parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not hereby expressly declared to be void by the act. The essential elements for valid contract such as at least 2 or more parties or persons are required for the contract. That is, one is offerer or service provider and other is offeree or service buyer. Other one is an offer should have been accepted to form a contract. One point is intention of parties to create legal relationship. Then free consent of parties to make contract means volunteer to make contract without any influence or external pressure. It said possible for performance means scope of contract should be performable. The parties enter into contract, they should be capacity to enter into contract. A party or person is to be competent to make contract. In this act, competent term is classified such as minor is not competent, person with unsound mind is not competent, person disqualified by law is also not competent. One should not alien enemy means not from the enemy state. Lawful object and consideration for the purpose should be lawful and getting something in return is consideration. Agreement should not be expressly declared void by the law such as waiver or bat. Legal formalities like written contract signed by witnesses, contract on paid stamp duty like BGB, etc. Now, the types of contract. These are mainly three categories. One is on the basis of mode of creation, it may be written or oral, it may be implied contract, quasi-contract, contract based on principles, and other categories on the basis of performance. It may be unilateral contract, bilateral contract, or executed contract. Third category is on the basis of enforceability, that is void agreement, valid agreement, void contract. Void contract can be classified as in case of death, in case of change in law, in case of other impossibilities. Voidable contract when there is no free consent. It may be illegal agreement or unenforceable contract. Thank you.